Good morning, Vande Matram, welcome all of you. The topic we are going to discuss right now is on reading and the yoga. How reading helps who are pursuing the integral yoga. So, how reading is helpful, that's what the topic of discussion in this session, reading and the yoga. And we'll try to discuss from Sri Aurobindo's writings in brief. Sri Aurobindo course to read what will help the yoga, or what will be useful for the work, or what will develop the capacity for the divine purpose. So, these are the things Sri Aurobindo tries to quote. To read what will help the yoga, first thing, it will help the yoga, and what will be useful for the work, second thing, and what will develop the capacity for the divine purpose. These are the three things Sri Aurobindo mentions. Course, help the yoga, second, useful for the work, third, develop the capacity for the divine purpose. Not to read worthless stuff and for mere entertainment, or for the delete the intellectual curiosity, delete and intellectual curiosity, which is the of the nature of the mental drinking. So what is the purpose here in the tries to force? Reading is necessary for what? To get help in yoga, second, useful for it is useful for work, third, it will develop the capacity for the divine purpose. But the thing is that we read, we don't know really what we are doing, what is the purpose, what is the symptom, that's what. So not to read, don't read for the worthless stuff, second, for the mere entertainment, or for the intellectual curiosity. That is the what is the normal process and the normal system, nature of mental thinking. When one is established in the highest consciousness, that's what's here in the course. When someone has reached in the higher consciousness, one can read nothing or everything, it makes no difference. So that is the situation scenario, because reading is useful. Reading makes a man perfect. Reading, some books to be read, some to be swallowed, some to be chewed. It's like this, you have read from Francis Bacon, that is good. But the thing is that it is helpful for the work, for the yoga, and for the today, for the development of a capacity for the divine purpose. But sometimes we read, but our purpose is totally different, for entertainment, for intellectual curiosity, and for the worthless stuff. But actually, that should not be. These are the things that is mental drum drinking like this. So, what is there here in the course? When one is established in the higher consciousness, not in lower consciousness, in the higher consciousness, then actually read nothing or everything, it makes no difference. And thus here in the goes forward. It is not by reading books that the mind is cultured. Most of that is our concept, our conceptual mind. We are concerned that if we read, then our mental and the intellectual development will be there. Mind is culture, and it is by trying to trying to think and see things clearly, that it comes. But the reading is quite secondary thing, not the primary. During the course, reading is very secondary things. One may read thousands of books, yet remain narrow and foolish. Very interesting. Even if he is reading thousands of books, but his idea is not getting fastened, or not getting widened, he is remaining narrow and foolish. So you have to see how it is helpful to the mind, because reading is the secondary, not the primary. So you may have all the mental knowledge of the world. Most of the people who have read like anything, and we know one concept is there: he who spends most of the time in study is a temperamentally lazy. So here in the course here, you have all the mental knowledge in the world, and you have the it must be important to face vital difficulties. So you have the mental knowledge, but you are facing vital difficulties. So during the course, courage, faith, sincerity towards light, rejection of the opposite suggestions, adverse voices, that are the true help. So we know. we are reading, we have acquired some mental knowledge, but that is not sufficient. So it to be important to face the vital difficulties. That is the important vital difficulties. For that, actually, you must courage. Second is faith. Third is sincerity towards light. Fourth is rejection of the opposite things and adverse forces. Fifth, that are the true help. Actually, then only can knowledge itself be all effective. Otherwise, it is a failure. So you have read the world, you have gained the acquired some knowledge, but thing is that you are unable to face the vital difficulties. So the aim of the reading will be it would bring out courage, faith, sincerity towards light, rejection of the opposite suggestions, and adverse voices. These are opposed to help. So and that must be taken care of, and if you are able to take care of all these things, then it is truly this knowledge, this worldly knowledge, mental knowledge will be truly effective. So let us during the goes, it is not the reading that brings the contact with the divine. Most of the time we feel, suppose we read and read and read, there will be a better contact with the divine. It is a partial and a variable concept. So it is the will and aspiration. Reading is a helpful, no doubt of it, because already Sri Aurobindo has quote it useful for yoga, for work, help for in yoga, and it can develop the capacity for the divine purpose. These are the things. But thing is that it is the will and aspiration. Number one is will. Number two is aspiration. That is being that brings the actually contact with the divine. That is the appropriate thing. But most of the time we think and we feel only reading is enough, but it is integral yoga. Not only in integral yoga, everything has got its value and it has got its need. But if we stay confined to a single thing, then horrible. So again, Sri Aurobindo tries to go a little forward. One question Sri Aurobindo is answering. That question, what is written for X is not meant for you. Already we have seen that nature and the personality of the sadhak varies from person to person. So whatever is written to the to somebody like X may not be valuable, may not be actually suitable or advisable for the another person like me. He got into the movement of consciousness in which reading is no longer necessary. That consciousness he has already reached. For him, actually, reading is not necessary and would rather interfere with his consciousness. If he is going and sticking that path, reading and reading and reading, it will actually, interfere with his consciousness. No objection to your reading, provided it has not interfered with the meditation. But your case is totally different. It is totally different. So, no objection to your reading, provided that it does not interfere with the meditation. You are doing the meditation. If you feel that the meditation can be interfered with the reading, then you can go. But his consciousness has reached a higher level. For him, that was the advice. So, your nature and personality and his nature and personality, these are variable. This is varying. So, you have to take care. There should be no desire to be a great writer. That's what we do. We have ambition. We have our aims. So there should be no desire for the great writer. If there is a genuine inspiration and no coming of power to write, then it can be done. So if you have got the genuine inspiration or coming power of a power, some power is coming to write, then you can write. But use of it means the service for the divine is the proper spirit, is the proper spirit. But as a means of service for the divine, so service for the divine, that is actually that is more countable or more needable things here in the course. It depends upon what kind of a literary man you want to be, ordinary or yogi. That question was there. I want to be a literary person, literary man. Still in the course. So what type of literary man you want to be? It is, of course, a ordinary literary man or yogic. That's what still in the course asked. A literary man differentiates, actually defines, who loves literature and literary activity for his own sake. But second, a yogic literary means not a literary man at all, but one who writes only what inner will and what wants to express. That is the difference. Already one literal man in the outward movement, in outward expression, you can find someone who loves literature and literary activity for his own sake. But so far this yogic literary man is concerned, that is different, because something that is not a literary man at all, but he writes something what is actually inner will or what wants to express everything, the expression from inside. He is a channel and an instrument. That's what you have to require. Know, and then you can see he is a channel and instrument of something greater than his own literary personality. Some he has got some personality, but the thing is that so far that is the ordinary literary man. But so far this yogic literary man is concerned, he is getting some inspiration from or word from inside. For that actually he becomes an instrument of a greater, of a power that is greater than his own literary personality. That's what to be taken care of. So what really you want to do, that's what is the problem. But actually, only thinking and writing, it does not mean that you are a yogic in your attitude. So for that, actually, you must get some inner inspiration on some higher force. The help of some higher force is inevitable, and it will be coming. And with the help of this higher force, you will be trying to create something, and that is the you will get the inspiration that is inner as inspiration. But a literary, ordinary literary man, he is creating something for his own pleasure. It is outward. Finally, Sri Aurobindo tries to quote here. It is the same with the work. It has a value of moral training, discipline, obedience, and acceptance of the work for the mother. So that is the meaning of the work. Really, this work it includes a lot of things. Work, it has a value of moral training. Second, discipline. Third, obedience. Fourth, acceptance of the work for the mother. So these are the criteria and characteristic of the work. The spiritual value and result come afterwards when the consciousness in the vital opens upward. That is the consciousness of the vital opens upward. That is different stage, and this it counts the spiritual value and the result that has to be taken care of. So with a mental work, it is a preparation. Most of the thing we know we are doing something. I can give one example. One professor was there, he came for work. It was a dedicated work. He was working through Odisha, very famous name in Odisha. So once upon a time, he wanted to join the ashram. As he was a professor of philosophy, he expected that mother will give some work on teaching or some research and development, something like this. But to his utter astonishment, he was given the work to work in the dining hall, means to fill the milk bottles, empty bottles to be packed with a meal. So actually he was astonished, but actually mother has given the work and he has got the dedication. He is a sincere and obedient fellow and the instrument, of course, I can say. So he did something and finally he analyzed why mother has given such type of work. That is the thing he wanted to analyze, and finally he got. He was a lecturer, he was a professor, but actually his vision was a little outward. So, to make the vision outward, make his consciousness inward from outward, mother has given the work of butter filling, milk filling in the milk bottle filling. So that he will be from while pouring milk from top inside into the bottle, so that this proper concentration will count a lot. He will get back the proper concentration. So that for that purpose only he was giving the work that the mother knew. So only reading and reading and reading and complaining that I have done so many things, it is actually it creates a narrow mental ego. Mental ego, I know everything and all. So he is of course he is a developed soul. developed something in your one aspect reading, but in another aspects he is lacking. Integral yoga, it is an integral yogic process, not you have to develop one or two aspects. Anyway, reading will help in work, in development, in psychic development, in yoga. Definitely it has got its value, but you have to take inspiration from inside. Thank you. Vande Mataram.